click the links for Odysee and BitChute. Here's the thing about YouTube. Once you start making money, your content goes milquetoast, normie, mainstream because it's a job. You don't want to get yeeted off the platform because it's paying the bills. So big channels like, say, Nerdrotic, for example, get very normie because they know how the algorithm works. And I like channels like that. But you're not going to get anything real. You're going to get the party line and a slightly right-of-center view. And hopefully Odysee and BitChute will start to change the equations a bit. And, you know, it's kind of funny to think that Gary from Nerdrotic is probably considered by people on the left as a right-wing literal German of the 1930s, because he's one of those San Francisco liberal libertarians who, like, the party kind of moved left and left him behind, and he probably woke up and looked around like, yeah, all this libertarian stuff about, you know, anything goes, laissez-faire is fine, but it's like, now there are people on the street shooting heroin. Maybe we need a little bit of order. And there are people on YouTube who are real. I will say that the Jack Show, which is John Malin, Cecil, Star Wars Girl, and Kelsey, and occasionally Ethan will come on. They'll occasionally drop some reality on there and some politically incorrect stuff, which on YouTube is not the best thing to do if you want to stay on the platform. And what's the point of YouTube if it's just going to turn into basically the mainstream media, which is what YouTube wants to turn into? If you know videos, you know how bad the censorship is. If you make videos, you know what direction YouTube is going. Everything is slowly moving to the middle left and then slowly altogether moving left. It's the Disneyfication of social media. It's why a lot of old channels lack the spice they used to have. It's why all the really good channels have been kicked off to Odysee. Because there are important things to talk about, and YouTube is a golden cage for a lot of big channels. All right, so an Asian actor is looking for a job in Lord of the Rings and in G.I. Joe. They replaced the blonde character with an Asian one. And to complete the Asian trifecta, Pang Dang is an Asian guy, a comedian who committed the cardinal sin of comedy. He turned on the guy who brought him up and publicly went after him with a hidden camera, trying to nuke Hinchcliffe's career, but probably destroyed both of their careers. He was hoping to jump on the anti-white hate train, but this wasn't the right move because all you had to do was view the whole show and see that the joke was in context. So it probably is going to turn out to be mutually assured destruction for both of them, which is, you know, good going. And here's the thing. If you have a good thing, don't screw it up. This Ping guy, he wasn't funny. So even if he's getting some attention from this, he can't capitalize on it unless he goes the Amy Schumer route and just performs other people's material. And he on Twitter, he's getting a lot of likes. But then he posted the clip on YouTube, and he's getting ratioed because someone else posted the full clip on YouTube. So Twitter likes don't pay the bills. It's you just nuked both of your careers. Good job. And if anything, the other guy, Hinchcliffe, will probably be able to pull out of it because he's legitimate. He sounds like he's got legitimate talent. If he's the one who brought you up and you turned on him, like, nobody wants a snake. Anyway, so 20 years ago, Amy Schumer she started off, she was actually, and when I say she was good looking like 20 years ago, people see her now and they can't imagine it. But believe it or not, she wasn't the hideous kind of pig creature she is now. And she was doing sex jokes on stage. And now I guess she just performs other people's material. So the problem with this Ping guy is that he is hideously ugly. Like, he looks deformed. Plus, he's a backstabber, and nobody trusts a backstabber. So what the G.I. Joe thing is, they wanted to turn a blonde guy Asian and have him speak with, oops, the wrong video, and have him speak without his mask. Part of the reason he was cool was that he was silent. Remember the silent issue for G.I. Joe back in the 80s, I guess? But the vermin who make movies have to destroy everything German or English. They cannot stand blonde hair or blue eyes. They have to replace it with black hair and black eyes, which is funny because when you think about it, the real diverse people of color are European. They've got the most diverse hair color, eye color, skin color. I suspect that the movie will underperform, but it doesn't matter. It is part of the humiliation ritual. But it also sort of backfires on them because they're admitting that they can't sell POC characters in new roles. Either the market isn't ready for it or they lack talent. When they bring in a Kamala Khan character, nobody buys it for some reason. I can't imagine why she's not more popular. She's a little brown girl in America who is constantly fighting evil blonde or red-haired men. Because, as we all know, those are the people who commit the most bad acts in America. The problem with Marxist writers is that they so desperately hate European people, they have to strawman them into everything to the point of absurdity. You get blonde gangs, home invaders, guys who hijack airplanes. Yes, it is as insane as that sounds. They've got white guys as the people who perform bad acts using airplanes. Even a younger reader sees that and knows that this is propaganda. New woke characters don't sell, and comics in general, I think, are over, at least the mainstream stuff, because they're not getting new readers. Because even kids don't want to read propaganda. At least in the pre-90s, the propaganda was a very light touch. Now every comic is fighting the guys in sheets. Because here's the thing. Those guys don't actually hurt anyone. They're not breaking any laws. They commit zero crime. They just smoke weed, drink beer, and talk about who controls the media. It's nonsense to make them the bad guys in current year. The modern bad guys are in Chicago. There's a homicide every 3 days in Oakland. Plot twist, it's not by guys in sheets. That's what makes the whole thing so asinine. The guys in sheets and sig hailing are not actually hurting anyone. They're just not the bad guys. The LA gangs are, and we all know this. The media in Hollywood is rolling a stone up an ever-increasing slope, and I can't wait until it comes back on them. The left wing is upset that there aren't actually Nazis out there committing bad acts. Almost all hate crimes are by POCs. They just can't live with the real world. Pre-Obama, they didn't have Nazis to fight, so they had to create them, which they have. They just couldn't leave well enough alone. It's like they've got a biological need to suicide every few decades. So the current treatment of the beautiful people of the light is a bit hard for the normies to understand. It seems like wealthy celebrities are telling these middle class how privileged they are. The guy who's installing toilets is privileged by the guys living in a gated community. But that is a Marxist lie. Most people get ahead by getting married, staying close to family, going to church, being a part of the community, having very high in-group preference, not abusing drugs or alcohol. There is no white privilege. That is a Bolshevik lie created by people who hate you. The media and academics are commies who will gladly starve you to death if they get the chance, unless we stop them. If you know your history, you know this isn't hyperbole. It's not paranoia if they really are after you. And it always seems to be the people in gated communities who are telling us that we need more diversity, but not just for their neighborhoods, only for ours. So, some Asian Uber driver and his blonde passengers were attacked by a mob a few days ago. The only people on Twitter who covered it were other Asian reporters, and Fox touched on it very lightly. Literally 90% of the media ignored it. None of the mainstream left-wing media would touch it or retweet it because they know it would upset the puppet masters. Dear people of European descent, Hollywood is not for you. They hate you. They don't want to hire you, and they don't want to tell your stories. In every Hollywood story, they will bend over backwards to make you the most hated character. Wonder Woman 2 was an example to the point of absurdity. They had a blonde guy in a suit who was harassing women in a city, but thank God a black homeless man was there to save the day. That is not that is not how crime in cities work, and we all know it because we're not insane. And finally, Jim Henson's company doesn't want to hire people based on race who are literally the same race as the creator. You get POLs, people of the light, create something. They invite everyone to share it, then it gets taken away. Then the POLs create something new, and the cycle repeats. What can I say? You need to gatekeep. If you don't advocate for your own interests, but other people do, you will lose out. It's basic game theory. But the people of Uggs and Starbucks have been brainwashed to think that it is bad to have an in-group preference. No, it's an evolutionary survival tool. If you want to thrive, you must value your tribe above all others. Reality isn't istophobic, it's just reality. You have to accept it on its terms. Right now, if you are a fair countenance, you are being discriminated against openly. It's actually happening. I don't know what more I can do but throw water in someone's face. It's time you find your in-group preference and started fighting back. If you don't team up and advocate for your interests, you're going to get run over. Companies and media and Hollywood are literally discriminating against you right now. The first step is realizing that they are evil people who hate you and are harming you. They can't be reasoned with. They hate you based on your origin because, and follow me here, they're evil. They're Bolsheviks. Critical race theory, it's not real. It's Marxist anti-white hatred pushed by globalist academics and media. Robin DiAngelo is a real, legitimate, actual racist who's selling snake oil. But I do admire her hustle. She makes tons of money while her black guest speakers make half of what she makes. Well, she lectures normies about white people bad. DiAngelo is originally from the Middle East by way of Italy, so she probably considers herself a person of color, which is a bit slimy of her. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, go to Odysee, Gab TV, and BitChute, and a sports channel if you want on Coffee, PayPal, Patreon, all that kind of stuff. Or if you want to get a hold of me, you can drop me an email. Join the Discord, though. It's full of free speech advocates who literally use a lot of free speech. So be warned.